Welcome to EFESTE Winery. My name is Dan Forelli. I'd like to introduce you to my family. This is Kevin Taylor, my son-in-law, my wife Helen Forelli, and my daughter Angela Taylor. The story starts with this winery with my grandfather immigrating from Calabria, the southern part of Italy, in the early 1900s. Ended up in Chicago, where he raised his family, and of course he made wine, and through Prohibition sold quite a bit of it. My dad moved to Seattle in 1946, the year I was born. We lived in Seattle. My grandfather came out in 1959, ended up staying, and we started making wine on an old press, an old crusher that's in this room. My son-in-law Kevin came around in the late 80s, kind of wondering what I was doing in the garage all the time. And after he finished college, he made wine with myself and my wife and family and son for many, many years, kind of urging me to, let's do something commercial and sell our wine. And I go, well, our wine isn't that good. And so we actually hired a winemaker. That was Chris Upchurch from DeLille, who secured the best fruit in the state for us. That was a big break for us. And our first crush was in '05.
I've always liked production, Dan's always liked production, so it was really fun for us to kind of get started, get the production thing going, and we've been able to refine things every year. 2007, we decided it would be a good idea to buy some vineyards, some estate vineyards.
So you see the philosophy, right? You haven't sold anything yet.
So we bought 3 different vineyards, actually 2 initially on Red Mountain and then 1 in Grandview, all of which are growing great fruit right now.
Kind of a jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. I make phone calls when people haven't picked up their wine yet. I cook pizzas. Dan and I do a lot of cooking down here. He wanted to open up a restaurant a long time ago.
The coolest thing is when people come in, they're like, all of your wines are good, you know? No matter what we put in front of them, they like them. We don't hardly ever get anyone not leaving happy. When we were ready to release, our youngest son got sick. And, you know, it was unbelievable because here we are trying to juggle leukemia suddenly before we open a winery. You can do a lot of really good things with a winery when it comes to charity. And that has been really a neat part, is being able to help people with their causes. Tough Guy is what we do for leukemia. 20% of that wine goes to leukemia, and we hope as the years go on, we can do more for that.
We've had great winemakers, Chris Upchurch to start with, and Brennan Layton, who did a wonderful job for us for 4 to 5 years, and now Peter Devison. He says, you guys have the best fruit in the state. He says, I can express myself here like no place else. So I'm going, okay, I get it. He's probably the hardest working guy I've ever met in my life. I mean, he is a hard worker.
My philosophy is to try to do as little as possible. And that involves dealing with great growers, making sure that the fruit shows up to the winery in the best condition possible, and then hands off, let the wine make itself. We're completely native here. We don't add commercial yeast. So we just try to create an environment that allows the yeast to promote flavors that are trademark for EFESTE.
When it came to the name, I came up with these fabulous names, but nobody liked them. Absolutely laugh at me, just like right now. And so the bottling truck came in, and we had a bottle which is now called Big Papa, but we didn't have a label. We didn't have EFESTE, it wasn't born yet. So I says, you know, every time that truck comes up the driveway, it's $2,700. So let's just put our stupid initials on it. Who cares? If the wine's good, it's going to sell no matter what we put on it. So we put down EFESTE. Helen decides, no, that looks stupid. I'm going to add these E's to it. So that's how the name EFESTE came about.
EFESTE would love to thank Bellevue LifeSpring and all the people involved in such a wonderful event. It's an honor to be a part of such a great cause. Our ownership group would like to thank you and hope you enjoy your evening tonight. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.